Here's something that doesn't get said enough about Sakura. The show actually tried with her, like genuinely tried. She's introduced with a clear character flaw. She's book smart, but emotionally shallow, more interested in Sasuke than in becoming a real ninja, and that's a solid foundation. That's a character with somewhere to go, and then she just doesn't go there. Not really, not in any way that sticks. And what's interesting is this isn't a case of the writers forgetting about her or just not caring. They kept coming back to Sakura. They gave her big moments. They gave her a master. They gave her a war arc. And somehow after all of that, she ends the series in almost the exact same position she started, defined almost entirely by her relationship to Sasuke, with the show treating her medical ninjutsu as a personality replacement instead of actual growth. So today, we're not just talking about whether Sakura is useless, that's a different video. We're asking a more specific question. Why across hundreds of episodes did the writing never actually let Sakura get better? Let's start with what the show sets up, because this is where the argument lives. Part 1 Sakura is genuinely interesting at a starting point. She's the student who aces the written exam but freezes in real combat. She's the girl who cares more about her hair and Sasuke's intention than her own development as a shinobi. That's not a bad character, that's a character with a clear arc waiting to happen. And there are even early signs the show knows this. The moment where she cuts her own hair during the Force of Death, that's supposed to signal something. She's letting go of vanity, committing to the fight, choosing to be something more than she's been. It's a genuinely good beat, but here's the problem. The show treats that moment like it's the arc, not the beginning of the arc. Like cutting the hair meant that she was done changing. And then Sasuke leaves at the end of part 1, and instead of Sakura's development continuing on its own terms, it immediately gets redirected into how do I get strong enough to bring back Sasuke? So from the very start, Sakura's growth is never really for Sakura. It's always in service of something else. The Tsunade apprenticeship is where most people point when they say Sakura did develop. And fair, something does change. She becomes the strongest in her class physically, she develops a medical ninjutsu specialty that saves lives, that's real. But look at what the show actually does with the Tsunade relationship versus what it does with, say, Naruto's training with Jiraiya or Sasuke's training with Orochimaru. Those training arcs are about identity. Naruto learns to harness the Nine Tails and connect with his own power. Sasuke pushes past his limits to develop something that is entirely his. Even the dark edges of those arcs are about who these characters are becoming. Sakura's training with Tsunade is almost entirely technical. She learns techniques, she doesn't have a reckoning with who she is or what she wants independent of Team 7. And Tsunade, who herself has an incredible rich backstory about loss, about running away, about being forced to stop hiding, almost none of that transfers to Sakura in any meaningful way. They have a master-student relationship that's surprisingly shallow given how much screen time they share. The show had everything it needed to make Sakura's arc mirror Tsunade's, a character who runs from her own strength, who defines herself through the men around her, who eventually has to choose who she is. That's right there. They didn't take it. Shippuden is where it really falls apart, and I think it falls apart for one specific reason. The show can't figure out what to do with Sakura's feelings for Sasuke, so it just keeps them on a loop. The fake confession scene is the clearest example. Sakura tells Naruto she loves him and has gotten over Sasuke, which would be a real character development moment, and then the show immediately undercuts it by having everyone around her call it a lie, having Naruto reject it, and having the whole thing resolved with basically nothing changing. It's a scene that looks like growth and functions as its opposite, and this is the pattern the war arc follows with Sakura. She gets big moments. The moments she destroys half the battlefield is legitimately impressive, but those moments are always isolated. They don't feel connected to anything. She punches something really hard and then stands to the side while Naruto and Sasuke finish the actual fight. Every time she's given a moment of power, the story immediately puts her back in the position of an onlooker. Compare that to how the show handles Hinata in the Pain arc, which is one scene, not a full arc, but it does something Sakura's entire war arc doesn't. It connects her action to who she is and what she believes. It means something. Sakura's war moments are impressive and then immediately forgettable because they're not anchored to any inner journey the show is tracking. This might be the most underrated problem in Sakura's entire arc, and I don't see it talked about enough. At some point, and it happens subtly, the show starts using Sakura's medical ninjutsu as a substitute for character development. Like, she heals people, therefore she has grown, therefore we don't need to show you the inner work. But healing people is a skill, it's not a worldview, it's not a reckoning with who you are. Tsunade heals people, and she's a rich, complicated character because the show gave her grief, regret, cowardice, courage, and a reason to finally stop running. Sakura heals people, and she's still, at the end of the series, primarily defined as Sasuke's love interest who happens to have strong chakra control. The show mistakes competence for growth, and those are not the same thing. You can get better at something without getting better as a person. And Sakura gets very good at her specialty, while the actual work of her character arc, figuring out who she is outside of Teen 7's gravity, never gets done. So why did Sakura never actually get better? The honest answer is because the story needed her to stay in a particular position. It needed a Team 7 member who was still in Sasuke's orbit, still waiting, still defined by that dynamic. Because if Sakura fully grew out of that, the whole emotional engine of the Sasuke retrieval arc and its aftermath loses a lot of its weight. She's load-bearing in a way that prevents her from being free, which is kind of tragic when you think about it. Not because she's weak or useless, because she isn't, but because the show built a character with a genuinely interesting flaw and then couldn't afford to fix it, because fixing it would have broken something else the story needed more. Sakura never got better because the series needed her not to, and that's a writing problem, not a character problem. The character could have been something, the story just had other priorities. But what do you guys think? Do you think there was ever a version of Sakura's arc that could have worked, or was she always going to end up here given how the story was structured? I'd love to get y'all's thoughts, so let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, click the card you see here, which will take you to my video on why I don't think Sakura is a useless character overall, but why she's still a trash character. I'm Curly Hero Kage, and I hope you all have an amazing and blessed day. Peace.